I wanna start this video by thanking you a lot for the support of my previous video. It has become the most successful video on my channel and it helped me gain 7 subscribers to a total of 25 subscribers, which is the most amount of subscribers that I've gained in the span of one day or so. Something that I found few days after uploading that Yoshida tier video more than anything, the chapter review for 213. It's a post on Reddit where they showed the cover for volume 17 in which Yoshida poses in a manner that says more than anything that he's tired of this shit, he doesn't want to do this shit. And the cover for chapter 46, which is Reze posing before her devil transformation, and they look pretty similar, and I didn't get to talk about it, but yeah, they look pretty similar. This is another hint that Yoshida could have been Reze all along. Also, I didn't exactly mention this, but we also got to see Reze in volume 10 and 11, her fighting on Makima's side. But as I said, if Reze were to make a contract with the Octus Devil, which I think is possible, I don't think it's impossible for devils to make contracts between one another. Aki got a hold of multiple devils, so why is it not possible for other hybrids to have devil contracts? I don't know, this is just an answer to this person on my video that probably didn't even get to watch the entire video. But yeah, this week I decided to reread volume 14 just for fun, just because I had a little bit of free time and I wanted to just have fun rereading some Chainsaw Man, and I found few callbacks to other events that got shown or mentioned later on in part 2. First of all, the very beginning of the Denji Asa Aquarium date arc, which starts with Asa giving these long explanations of few things, which are not that long. They're 2 pages in total, like 5, 6, 7 sentences in total, so they're not actually that long. The first explanation that Asa gives is about a creature called sea anemones. Yes, I'm so great that I'm saying sea animals is this sea creature. I don't even know what it is, but I think it's supposed to represent the nature of Denji and Pochita. It says that this creature can live up to 70 years, which is the average human being lifespan. Then afterwards, Asa mentions that this creature has another creature inside of it, which is once again Denji and Pochita's nature. Denji when Black Chainsaw Man comes around, and also saying that this creature can survive without food. Once again, devils need blood to survive, not exactly food to eat every single day. The second explanation is the explanation that everybody remembers about starfishes. Asa talks about starfishes that some creatures get to have up to 30 arms or so. The most important part of her explanation is how when starfishes get attacked, starfishes would cut off their own arms and run away, and starfishes then get to regenerate their arms, which is a perfect homage to Asa and Yoru's future, where in volume 17 Asa Yoru get their right hand cut by Yoshida, and then later on the series when Yoru decides to attack Pochita, Pochita cuts the left arm, which leads to Yoru using 2 of her favorite children to create new attachment to her body, new arms. Boom! Daisuke Fujimoto foreshadowing as always. Another thing that I didn't get to realize for probably 3 months or so is that chapter 200 Toxic Couple, the start of that chapter where Asa talks about eating toxic food and her being fine with it because she's a toxic woman, is supposed to be a callback to chapter 116, in which Denji suggests that Asa should eat starfish because Asa has not eaten anything in the past few days or so when they have been in this eternal aquarium. Asa saying that starfishes are toxic in general, Denji saying that it's fine since they can cook starfishes, Asa trying out the starfish, eating fish, which is, you know, not something in her nature. She said she was not fine with eating fishes at first, but you know, this was quite a fun chapter and quite a cool callback that I didn't realize for 3 months or so. A final callback, I guess, which is not exactly a callback, but I would put it once again in this scenario because it's an interesting thing to mention once again. In chapter 118, Yoru tries to turn Denji into spinal cord sword. She does not succeed in it. That leads Asa to think that Denji does not like her, does not see her as romantic interest, and in one of her panels where Asa is lying in bed, she looks a little bit similar of a pose to when the other twin got reviewed in chapter 205. I talked about the aquarium date that alternative devil arc in part 2. Now I'm gonna talk about the part 1 version. The beginning of the arc in the Chainsaw Man manga was titled Endless 8-4, which is supposed to be a reference to an anime called Haruki Suzumiya. So a few months ago I decided to watch Haruki Suzumiya exactly for that reason, because Tatsuki Fujimoto has put in a reference from that anime to Chainsaw Man. I watched the first season, I found it, different than other shows. I found Haruki Suzumiya's character different from other heroines, but other than that I wasn't the most interested in the anime, and I told myself that maybe later down the line I will watch the second season. I wasn't too excited about starting the second season, but this week I decided to do that, and oh boy, I was really surprised. I found out where this Endless 8 comes from. It's the Endless 8 arc from the second season of Haruki Suzumiya, and it's the most interesting, most psychological thing I've ever seen in anime. It's not that psychological, it's not that depressing, but it's like an interesting thing shown to us in anime form, shown to us in fictional form. It's like the best representation of gambling, of trying something and hoping different results are gonna come out by doing something different a little. Oh boy, and I was so excited when we got to finish this arc. I just wanna recommend Haruki Suzumiya just because of the start of the second season and the second season in general. I haven't gotten to finish the second season in its entirety, but it's such a good twist. It's such a different thing that I have not seen in any other anime, I guess, that I've watched. I just wanted to recommend it. Some characters remind me of the Chainsaw Man Part 2 cast. Yuki is a character that is pretty emotionless, which reminds me more than anything of Dead-chan's character. You can call them a Gundere archetype character or something like that, how the otakus call them, I guess. Next character that reminds me of another character of Chainsaw Man, I forgot her name, but the orange-haired girl that is like that has the most annoying voice, that has the closest voice to a fucking fly. She reminds me of Fami's character, because Fami is constantly a crybaby. And honestly speaking, I like Fami's character. I like the cry-babiness of herself. And another character, the main girl Haruki Suzumiya, reminds me a little bit of Yoru's character. They're both confident in themselves. They're both outgoing. They're both like a little bit dumb on the head, or have quite a bit of confidence on themselves, despite the fact that they don't have proof for that confidence, I guess. Pretty outgoing, pretty fun to watch them act and talk and do things and get other people in difficult scenarios. A character that also reminds me of another character is the other male character in Haruki's squad, which I forgot his name, but he's more calculated, he's, more calm, which reminds me of how Yoshida has acted throughout part 2. And yeah, let's talk about Fire Punch for a second. I also decided to reread Volume 7 once again for the funs of it. And in Volume 7, Chapter 66, Agni gets to have a little bit of raunch times with Judah in bed. Then afterwards in Chapter 67, I forgot her name, but Doma's daughter gets to confront Agni and Judah about doing the deed despite being siblings, or being called siblings to one another, which gets interrupted by an explosion, which is similar to Chapter 213, where Yoshida explodes. By the way, I think even if Dead-chan and Fami are in the range of Yoshida's explosion, they're gonna be fine. Fami is just gonna regenerate using another live being. Dead-chan cannot die. And the hybrids are also inside the school. Once again, where is Barem hiding? And also, most certainly than not, this is the beginning of a big fight. I also think the reason why I'm mentioning Fire Punch is that in Chapter 68, Maskman comes around, or 67 it is, Maskman comes around, cuts off Judah's head, hands it to Nenetu, and goes towards fighting Agni, or Agni wants to fight Maskman, which I guess gets skipped over in the manga. Tatsuki Fujimoto gets to skip over this fight. Let me give you reasons why I'm fine with this fight getting skipped over in the manga. First of all, as it was said, it's way too grotesque. We get to see parts of Agni's face on his body. Agni has probably died quite a bit of times. At the end of the fight, Maskman is so tired that the only time when he speaks in the manga is in this exact scenario where he tells Agni to just kill him. That is how tired he is. The second and third reason why I think this fight was skipped over is because we're at the end of the story and there are not enough pages to cover this fight, I guess. But on the other hand, we would get to see a fight between Fire Punch and Sun. And once again, if we got to see such a big, such a tremendous fight before the final fight of the series, we would have been disappointed at the final fight of the series, I think. Another thing to mention is Agni's final transformation to Fire Punch. Before that leads to Agni having inner thoughts about Judas' character, about Luna, telling him things in his head. As always, Agni crazy with the thoughts about Luna, which leads to Agni punching back Doma's daughter, which leads to Oya, Doma's grandson, putting Agni on Doma's fire and turning Agni back to Fire Punch. And I'm wondering if we're gonna see something similar if Denji were to see Reze's character, or even without Reze's character, if Denji is going to have a moment similar to Agni's, where Denji is gonna have a lot of retrospective monologue about himself, another retrospective monologue, I guess, about how he's constantly horny, about what he's missing. Maybe we're finally gonna see Makima in the picture, not in the flesh, but in the picture in a panel of part 2, despite the fact that Makima has been mentioned quite a lot in part 2, and by us in the community, we have not seen Makima even once in part 2. So that could be an interesting retrospect. I would have liked to see Denji give a more powerful retrospect in the Falling Devil fight that appeared in chapter 206, I think, or 207, where, you know, Denji got to doubt himself and things of that nature. I would have liked to see Denji's inner monologue, but we didn't get to see a lot from it. I don't know, will we get to see something like that? I'm not exactly certain, but it would be interesting indeed. Sorry for the lackluster editing, problems with the PC. Also, why did I make this video? Anyways, long live Chainsaw Man, bye bye plebs, wasn't here.